Now we've got Agawam rushing the field here, and they're playing host to Amherst. First quarter, Agawam's Dom Pisano hands it off to Cole Ingham. Ingham gets the corner, and he picks up that big brownie. First down. Later in the drive, Pisano with a quick pass to Joseph Duffy. Duffy breaks free, and he gets enough yards to move the sticks here for another first down and coverage. On this same drive, we're going to get another Dom Pisano highlight as he drops back. And we get a diving catch there by Owen Angelini. Second and goal now for Agawam. Pisano hands it off to Ingham. Ingham up the middle. He lowers the shoulder, and nobody's stopping him. He's in the end zone. That's 7-0 Brownies. Amherst now. Travis Isabel hands it off to Brady Clays. Clays rushing into Agawam territory, and he's picking up a Canes first down now. And on that same drive, the Amherst Hurricanes line up for the field goal. They fake it, but Agawam is all over it. They take them down on their own 5-yard line, and the Brownies end up sneaking by Amherst, winning 18-14.